Be a pity to see such a sight, it well becomes the ground.
Cry hava to thy tongue, it curveth unseasonably. He was fashioned like a hunter.
Oh, ominous, he comes to kill my heart!
I would sing my song without a burden, that brings me out of tune.
Do you not know that I'm a woman? When I think I must speak. Sweet, say on.
Keep. Soft, comes he not here?
'Tis he! Sit by and note him.
I thank you for your company, but good faith I had as lief been myself alone.
And so had I. But yet, for fashion's sake, I thank you too for your society.
God be with you. Let's meet as little as we can.
I do desire we may be better strangers.
I pray you. Mar no more trees with the writing of love songs on their bark.
I pray you mar no more of my verses with reading them ill-favoredly.
Rosalind is your love's name?
Yes, just.
I do not like her name.
There was no thought of pleasing you when she was christened.
What stature is she of?
Just as high as my heart.
You have a nimble wit. Will you sit with me? We two will rail against our mistress of the world and our miseries together.
I will chide no breather in the world but myself, against whom I know most faults.
The worst fault you have is to be in love.
'Tis a fault I will not change for your best virtue. I am weary of you.
By my troth, I was seeking for a fool when I found you.
He is drowned in the brook. Look but in, and you shall see.
I will tarry no longer with you. Farewell, good Signor Love.
I am glad of your departure. Adieu, good Monsieur Melancholy.
I will speak to him like a saucy lackey, and under thy habit play the knave with him. Do you hear, Forester?
Very well. What would you?
I pray you, what is the clock?
You should ask what time of day. There's no clock in the forest.
Then there's no true lover in the forest. Else sighing every minute and groaning every hour would take the lazy foot of time as well as the clock.
And why not the swift foot of time? Had not that been as proper?
By no means, sir. Time travels in diverse paces and with diverse persons. I'll tell you who time ambles withal, who time trots withal, and who time gallops withal.
I prithee, who doth he trot withal?
Mary, he trots hard with the maid between the contract of her marriage and the day that it is solemnized. If the interim be but a fortnight, time's pace is so hard it seems the length of 7 years.
Who ambles time withal?
With the priest that lacks Latin, and a rich man who hath not the gout. For the one sleeps easily because he cannot study, and the other lives merrily because he feels no pain. These time ambles withal.
Who doth he gallop withal?
With a thief to the gallows. For though he goes as softly as foot can fall, he thinks himself there too soon.
Where dwell you, pretty youth?
With the shepherdess, my sister, here on the skirts of the forest, like French upon a petticoat.
Are you native of this place? Your accent is something finer than you could purchase and so remove the dwelling.
Indeed, I have been told so of many, but an old religious uncle of mine taught me to speak. One who was in his youth an inland man, knew courtship too well, for there he fell in love. I have heard him read many lectures against it, and I thank God I'm not a woman. To be touched with so many giddy offences, yet generally tax their whole sex withal.
Can you remember any of the principal evils that he laid to the charge of women?
They were none principal. They were all like one another's halfpence are. Everyone false and monstrous till his fellow fault came to match it.
I prithee recount some of them.
No, I'll not cast away my physic when on those that are sick. There's man haunts in this forest, who abuses our young plants with the carving of Rosaline on their barks. Hangs odes upon hawthorns and elegies on brambles, all forsooth deifying the name of Rosaline. If I could meet that fancy monger, I would give him good counsel, for he seems to have the quotidian of love upon him.
I am he that is so love-shaped. I pray you tell me your remedy.
You have none of my uncle's marks upon you. He taught me to know a man in love, in which cage of rushes I am sure you are not prisoner.
What were his marks?
A lean cheek, which you have not. A blue eye and sunken, which you have not. An unquestionable spirit, which you have not. A beard neglected, which you have not, but I'll pardon you for that, for your simply having a beard is a younger brother's revenue. Then your hose should be unguarded, your bonnet unbanded, your sleeve unbuttoned, your shoe untied, and everything about you demonstrating a careless desolation. But you are no such man. Rather point device in your accoutrements, assuming the lover of yourself than the lover of any other.
Fair youth, I would I could make thee believe I love.
Me believe it? Ha! You may as soon make her that you love believe it, which I warrant you, she is apter to do than confess she does. This is one of the points in which women still give a lie to their conscience. But, in good sooth, are you he that hangs the verses on the branches wherein Rosalind is so admired?
I swear to the youth, by the white hand of Rosalind, I am that he. That unfortunate he.
Are you so much in love as your rhymes speak?
Neither rhyme nor reason can express how much.
Love is merely a madness, and I tell you, deserves as well a dark house and a whip as madmen do. And the reason they are not so punished and cured is that the lunacy is so ordinary that the whippers are in love too. Yet I profess curing it, by counsel.
Did you ever cure any so?
Yes, one, and in this manner. He was to imagine me his love, his mistress, and I set upon him every day to woo me, at which time would I, being but a moonish youth, would grieve, be effeminate, changeable, longing and liking, proud, fantastical, apish, shallow, inconstant, full of tears, full of smiles, for every passion something, and for no passion truly anything, as boys and women are for the most part cattle with color, would now like him, now loathe him, then entertain him, then forswear him, now weep for him, then spit at him, that I drove my suitor from his mad humor of love to a living humor of madness, which was to forswear the full stream of the world and live in a nook, merely monastic. And thus I cured him, and in this way I will take it upon me to wash your liver as clean as sound cheek's heart, that there shall be not one spot of love in it.
I would not be cured, youth.
I would cure you if you would but call me Rosalind and come to my cot every day and woo me.
Now, by the faith of my love, I will. Tell me where it is.
Go with me to it, and by the way, you shall show me where in the forest you live. Will you go?
With all my heart, good youth.
Nay, you must call me Rosalind. Come, sister, will you go?
Come apace, sweet Audrey. I will fetch up your goats, Audrey. And how, Audrey? Am I the man, yet doth my simple feature content you?
Your features, Lord warrant us, what features?
I have been with thee and thy goats as the most capricious poet. Honest Ovid was among the Goths.
Oh, knowledge ill-inhabited, worse than Jove in a thatched house.
When a man's verses cannot be understood, it strikes him more dead than a great reckoning in a little room. Truly, I would have the goats made thee poetical.
I do not know what poetical is. Is it honest indeed in word? Is it a true thing?
No, truly, for the truest poetry is the most feigning, and as lovers are given to poetry, what they swear in poetry may be said as lovers they do feign.
Do you wish then that the gods had made me poetical?
I do, truly, for thou swearest to me thou art honest. Now, if thou wert a poet, I might have some hope thou didst feign.
Would you not have me honest?
No, truly, for to have honesty coupled to beauty is to have honey as sauce to sugar.
Material fool.
Well, I am not fair. Therefore, I pray the gods make me honest.
And to cast away honesty upon a foul slut or to put good meat into an unclean dish.
I am not a slut. Though I thank the gods that I follow.
Well, praise be the gods for thy foulness. Sluttishness may come hereafter. Be it as it may be, I will marry thee. And to that end I have been with Friar Martex, the vicar of the next village, and he has promised to meet me here in this place of the forest and to couple us.
What the gods give us joy.
A man may, if he were of a fearful heart, stagger in this attempt, for here we have no temple but the wood, no assembly but horned beasts, but what though? Courage, here comes the friar. Sir Martex, you are very well met. Are you prepared to dispatch us here under this tree, or shall we go with you to your chapel?
Is there none here to give the woman?
I will not take her on gift of any man.
Truly, she must be giving, or the marriage is not lawful.
Proceed, I'll give her.
Good even, good master. What do you call it? How do you do, sir? You are very well met. God will do for your last company. I am very glad to see you.
Will you be married, Motley?
As the ox hath his bow, sir, the horse his curb, the falcon her bells, so hath man his desires, and as pigeons bill some, wedlock would be nibbling.
And will you, being a man of your breeding, be married under a bush like a beggar? Get you to church and have a good priest that can tell you what marriage is. This fellow will join you as they join wainscot. One of you will prove a shrub panel, and like green timber, warp, warp.
I'm better to be married of this man than of another, for he is not like to marry me well, and not being well married will be a good excuse for me to hereafter leave my wife.
Go thou with me and let me counsel thee.
Come, sweet Audrey. We must be married or we must live in Audrey. Farewell, good friar. Wind away, be gone, I say. We'll not to wedding with thee.
'Tis no matter, ne'er a fantastical knave of them all shall flaunt me out of my calling.
Talk to me, I will weep. Do I, prithee, but yet have the grace to consider that tears do not become a man.
But have I not cause to weep?
As good cause as one would desire. Therefore weep.
His hair is of the dissembling color.
Aye, something browner than Judas's, Mary. His kisses are Judas's own children.
Faith, his hair is of a good color.
An excellent color. Your chestnut was ever the only color.
And his kissing is as full of sanctity as the touch of holy bread.
A nun of winter's sisterhood kisses not more religiously. The very ice of chastity is in them.
But why did he swear he would come this morning and comes not?
Nay, certainly there is no truth in him.
Do you think so?
Yes! I think he is not a pig purse, nor a horse stealer. But for his verity and love, I do think of as concave as a covered goblet or a worm-eaten nut.
Not true in love?
Yes, when he is in, but I think he's not in.
You've heard him swear downright he was.
Was is not is. Besides, the oath of a lover is no stronger than the words of a tapster. Both are the confirmer of false reckonings. He attends here in the forest on the Duke your father.
I met the Duke yesterday and had much question with him. He asked me of a parentage I was, and I told him of as good as he. So he laughed and let me go. But talk we of fathers when there's such a man as Orlando?
Oh, that's a brave man. He writes brave words, speaks brave verses, swears brave oaths, and breaks them bravely. Who comes here?
Mistress and master, you've oft inquired after the shepherd who complained of love, who you saw sitting by me on the turf, praising the proud, disdainful shepherdess that was his mistress.
Well, and what of him?
If you will see a pageant truly played between the pale complexion of true love and the red glow of scorn and proud disdain, go hence a little, and I will conduct you if you will mark it.
Oh, come, let us remove. The sight of lovers feedeth those in love. Bring us to the sight, and you shall say, I'll prove the actor in their play.
Sweet Phoebe, do not scorn me. Do not, Phoebe. Say that you love me not, but say not so in bitterness. The common executioner, whose heart the accustomed sight of death makes hard, falls not the axe upon the humbled neck, but first begs pardon. Will you sterner be than he that dies and lives by bloody drops?
I will not be thy executioner. I fly thee, for I would not injure thee. Thou tellest me there is murder in mine eyes. Now I do frown on thee with all my heart. And if mine eyes can wound, now let them kill thee. Pow! Now counterfeit the swoon. Why now fall down, or if thou canst not, oh for shame, lie not to say mine eyes are murderers. Now show the wound mine eye hath made in thee. Scratch thee but with a pin, and there remains some scar of it. But now mine eyes, which I have darted at thee, hurt thee not, nor I'm sure there is any force in eyes that can do hurt.
Oh, dear Phoebe, if ever, as that ever may be near, you meet in some fresh cheek the power of fancy, then shall you know the wounds invisible that love's keen arrows make.
But till that time, come not thou near me. And when that time comes, afflict me with thy mocks, pity me not, as till that time I shall not pity thee.
And why, I pray you? Who might you be your mother that you insult, exult, and all at once over the wretched? But, though you have no beauty, and by my faith I see no more in you than a candle may go dark to bed, must you therefore be so proud and pitiless?
Why
mistress. Hope not after it. 'Tis not your inky brows, your black silk hair, your bugle eyeballs, nor your cheek of cream that can attain my spirits to your worship. You foolish shepherd, wherefore do you follow her? You are 1,000 times a properer man than she a woman. Such fools as you that make the world full of ill-favored children. It is not her laugh, but you who flatters her. And out of you, she sees herself more proper than any of her lineaments can show her. But mistress, know yourself. Down on your knees. And thank heaven fasting for a good man's love. For I must tell you, friendly in your ear, sell when you can. You are not for all markets. Cry the man mercy. Love him. Take his offer. Foul is most foul, being foul to be a scoffer. So take her to thee, shepherd. Fare you well.
Sweet youth, I pray you, chide a year together. I'd rather hear you chide than this man woo.
He's fallen in love with your foulness, and she'll fall in love with my anger. If this be so, as fast she answers thee with frowning looks, I'll sauce her with bitter words. Why look you so upon me?
For no ill will I bear you.
I pray you, do not fall in love with me, for I am falser than vows made in wine. Besides, I like you not. Will you go, sister? Shepherd, ply her hard. Come, sister. Shepherdess, look on him better, and be not proud, though all the world conceive none could be so abused in sight as he. Come, to our flock.
Whoever loved that loved not at first sight.
Sweet Phoebe.
Ah! What sayest thou, Sylvius?
Sweet Phoebe. Pity me.
Why, I'm sorry for thee, gentle Sylvius.
Wherever sorrow is, relief would be. If you do sorrow my grief and love, by giving love, your sorrow and my grief are both extermined.
Thou hast my love. Is not that neighborly?
I would have you.
Why, that were covetousness. Sylvius, the time was that I hated thee, and yet it is not that I bear thee love. But since thou canst talk of love so well, thy company, which erst was irksome to me, I will endure, and I'll employ thee too. But do not look for further recompense in thine own gladness thou art employed.
So holy and so perfect is my love, and I in such a poverty of grace, that I shall think it a most plenteous crop to glean the broken ears after the man who the main harvest reaps. Loose now and then a scattered smile, and that I'll live upon.
Knowest now the youth that spoke to me a while?
Not very well, but I have met him oft, and he hath bought the cottage and the balance that the old carvet once was master of.
Think not that I love him, though I ask for him. 'Tis but a peevish boy, and yet he talks well. But what care I for words? Yet words do well when he that speaks them pleases love to hear. It is a pretty youth, not very pretty, but sure he's proud, and yet his pride becomes him. He'll make a proper man. The best thing in him is his complexion. And faster than his tongue to make offense, his eye did heal it up. He is not very tall. Yet for his years he's tall. His leg is but so-so. And yet, 'tis well. There was a pretty redness in his lip. A little ripe or more lusty red than that mixed in his cheek. There be someone in Sylvius. Had they marked men parses as I did, would have gone near to fall in love with him. But for my part, I love him not, nor hate him not. And yet I've more cause to hate him than to love him. For what had he to do to chide at me, He said mine eyes were black and my hair black. And now I am remembered, scorned at me. Marvel, I answered not again. I'll write to him a very taunting letter, and thou shalt bear it. Wilt thou, Silvius?
Phoebe, with all my heart.
I'll write it straight. The matter's in my heart and in my head. I will be bitter with him in passing short. Go with me, Silvius.
A very pretty youth. Let me be better acquainted with thee.
They say you are a melancholy fellow.
I am so. I do love it better than laughing.
Those that are in the extremity of either are abominable fellows who betray themselves to every modern censure worse than drunkards.
Why, it is good to be sad and say nothing.
Why then, 'tis good to be opposed.
I have neither the scholar's melancholy, which is emulation, nor the musician's, which is fantastical, nor the courtier's, which is proud, nor the soldier's, which is ambitious, nor the lawyer's, which is politic, nor the lady's, which is nice, nor the lover's, which is all of these. But it is a melancholy of mine own, compounded of many simples, extracted of many objects, and indeed the sundry contemplation of all my travels, in which my often rumination wraps me in a most humorous sadness.
Traveler, by thy faith you have good reason to be sad. I fear you sold your own lands to see other men's. Then to have seen much and have nothing is to have rich eyes and poor hands.
Yes, I have gained my experience.
And your experience makes you sad. I'd rather have a fool to make me merry than experience to make me sad. And to travel for it, too.
Good day and happiness, dear Rosalind.
Aye, God be with you, and you speak in blank verse.
Farewell, Monsieur Traveler. Why, how now, Orlando? Where have you been all this while? You, a lover, and you serve me such another trade. Never come in my sight more.
My fair Rosalind, I come within an hour of my promise.
Break an hour's promise in love. He that will divide a minute into 1,000 parts and break but a part of 1,000 part in a minute in the affairs of love, it may be said of him that you could have clapped him o'er the shoulder, but I'll warn him heart whole.
Pardon me, dear Rosalind.
Nay, and you be so tardy. Come no more in my sight. I had as lief to be wooed of as a snail.
Of a snail?
Aye, of a snail. For though he comes slowly, he carries his house on his head. And better jointure, I think, than you make of a woman. Besides, he brings his destiny with him.
What's that?
My horns, which such as you are fain to be beholding your wives for.
Virtue is no horn maker, and my Rosalind is virtuous.
And I am your Rosalind.
It pleases him to call you so, but he hath a Rosalind of a better leer than you.
Come, woo me. For now I'm in a holiday humor and like enough to consent. What would you say to me now you're very, very Rosalind?
I would kiss before I spoke.
Nay, you had better speak first, and when you are gravel for lack of matter, you may take occasion to kiss.
How if the kiss be denied?
Then she puts you out, and there begins a new matter.
My fair Rosalind. What, of my suit?
Not out of your peril, and yet out of your suit. Am I not your Rosalind?
I take some joy to say that you are, because I be talking of her.
In her person I say I will not have you.
But in mine own person I die.
No, faith, die by eternity. This poor world is almost 6,000 years old, and in all this time there was never any man who died in his own person of a love cause. Men have died from time to time, and worms have eaten them, but not for love.
I would not have my right Rosalind in this mind, for I protest, her frown might kill me.
By this hand it will not hurt to fly. Oh, but come now. I will be your Rosalind in a more coming-on disposition, and ask me what you will. I will grant it.
Then love me, Rosalind.
Yes, faithful I, Fridays and Saturdays and all.
And wilt thou have me?
I, and 20 such.
What sayest thou?
Are you not good?
I hope so.
Why then, can one desire too much of a good thing? Come, sister, you shall be the priest and marry us. Give me your hand. Orlando, what do you say?
Pray thee, marry us.
I cannot say the words.
You must begin. Will you, Orlando?
Go to. Will you, Orlando, have to wife this Rosalind?
I will.
Aye, but when?
Why now? As fast as she can marry us.
Then you must say, I take thee, Rosalind, for wife.
I take thee, Rosalind, for what?
Oh, no, tell me how long you would have her if you possessed her.
Forever and a day.
Say the day without the ever. No, Orlando. Men are April when they woo, December when they wed. Maids are May when they are maids, but the sky changes when they are wives. I will be more jealous of thee than a Barbary cock pigeon over his hen, more clamorous than a parrot against rain, more newfangled than an ape, more giddy in my desires than a monkey. I will weep for nothing, like Diana at the fountain, and I will do that when you are disposed to be merry. I will laugh like a hyena, and that when thou art inclined to sleep.
But will my Rosalind do so?
By my life, she will do as I do,
Oh, but she is wise.
or else she would not have the wit to do this. The wiser the waywarder. Make the doors upon a woman's wit, and will out at the casement. Shut that, 'twill out at the keyhole. Stop that, 'twill fly out with the smoke at the chimney.
A man that had a wife with such a wit, he might say wit whither wilt.
Nay, and you may keep that check for it to meet your wife's wit to go into your neighbor's bed.
What wit could wit have to excuse that?
Mary, to say she came to seek you there. You shall never take her without your answer unless you take her without her tongue. Oh, that woman cannot make her false her husband's occasion. Let her never nurse her child herself, for she will breed it like a fool.
For these 2 hours, Rosalind, I will leave thee.
Alas, dear love, I cannot lack thee 2 hours.
I must attend the Duke at dinner. By 2 o'clock I'll be with thee again.
Why then, go your ways, go your ways. I knew what you would prove. My friends told me as much, and I thought no less. The flattering tongue of yours won me. Just but one cast away, and so come death! 2 o'clock is your hour.
Aye, sweet Rosalind.
I my troth, and so God mend me, and by all pretty oaths that are not dangerous, if you break one jot of your promise or come 1 minute behind your hour, I will think you the most pathetical break promise and the most hollow lover, and the most unworthy of her that you call Rosalind out of the gross band of the unfaithful. Therefore, beware my censure, and keep your promise.
With no less religion than if thou wert indeed my Rosalind. So.